And that's mostly because I don't know how. And since I'm out of cigarettes, minus the carton I got over here, there will be no smoking during the presentation. I need to, like, reset, like, what's the word I'm looking for here? Refresh. Sorry, it's been a long day. See how many viewers I got. 3 viewers! Oh my god. It's a whole 2 more than 1. Anyways, today's video, today's stream, today's sermon. Handling breakups like a man. Y'all like my Studio Ghibli that I got there? Absolutely love ChatGPT. And Grok. Alright. So, let's begin. Wait, gotta double check. Let me just make my OBS a little bit smaller real quick. Alright. Handling breakups like a man. And is my voice coming in good? Let me just ask one of the guys. Okay, voice is coming in. So yeah, I've only streamed once before, and that's when I wanted to be a video game Twitch streamer. That all lasted all of like 2 days. That was when Dark Souls 3 came out. Also my favorite Dark Souls. So, handling breakups like a man. Work, you piece of shit. Aha! Now I know what I need to do here. Okay, about me. Ren is a pseudonym. There are reasons for that. I'm not going to go into it too much. I spent 14 years in the pickup artist community. And during COVID, I did generalized life coaching. And it was mostly geared towards guys. When I took my certification from Kane Ramsey as to being a life coach, one of the things that came up was he didn't take female clients because of some things that happened. They fell in love with him. Now, me at this time, I was a personal trainer, and even though I was still, going out on the weekends and, acting like a heathen, I noticed that a lot of the times, whenever I was training some girl, she'd notice that her husband was not noticing anything about her. Nothing was getting noticed. She doesn't get paid attention to in any way, shape, or form. I mean, this stuff's delicious. I'm sorry. She doesn't get paid attention to. And so what would wind up happening was they'd start liking me because I listened to them. So, yeah, most of my content is going to be geared towards guys. But you can learn some of these things. Some things from this if you're a woman. I don't know how much this translates into the gay world, even though I spent the last few months in a lot of gay spaces on Twitter. I really still have no idea how gay dating actually works, other than if you're a lesbian, you're on hard mode. I hate most coaches because most coaches, their whole plan is to keep you on the hook as long as humanly possible to become basically a pay pig. I mean, a lot of these things that you see when it comes to coaching is just pay pigs. You're a pay pig for these coaches, and a lot of the times they're going to try and convince you to become a coach so they can do this whole pyramid scheme thing. It's a whole thing. I returned to coaching due to hating the coaching sphere and I felt that there was a need for coaching in certain fields. I teach dating coaching, confidence coaching, and Once I get my physique better looking, I'm going to start doing fitness coaching again. I mean, really all I had to do is, just do a little bit of sauce here and there and lie about it like a lot of the fitness YouTubers. And then, yeah, totally. I mean, I could do that in a whole, 2 weeks. Company overview. Formed this year on February 11th. This is year 1. Currently, the only member of the coaching company is me. I'm talking to 4 other people. I want to see how they feel about it later on. One of the guys who might actually come on with me, he was one of the youngest CEOs. No, wait, he was the youngest CEO of the company that he worked for. And he was the guy who handled all the manufacturing side of things. The guy can start a business. I've seen the paperwork for the businesses he started, and I want him to do business coaching because I don't just want to do, dating coaching. I want this to be a bit more. I want to build the building blocks of things so that we can actually, move the world into a better place. So I want to actually provide value instead of being a poo-poo coach like most of the guys out there. Like, it literally takes nothing to become a coach. You don't even need certification. And I think that's horrendous. All you have to do is claim to be a coach. But I've actually got a little bit of experience. And like I said, I hate the mass majority coaching sphere of the coaching sphere. Yeah. And on the last bit, let's fucking go. Yes, let's fucking go. God damn it, Steve. Alright, so you've just had a breakup. What do you do now? Okay, first thing you're gonna do, get your crayons out, take notes. This is going to be the best breakup of your life. Oftentimes we see guys that get broken up and they don't know what to do with themselves. And really it's a process of understanding exactly how you got into that position and not letting that happen again. It's honestly quite simple. It's just you're emotionally fucked in the head because you don't know what to do because you put so much time and effort into this person and now you don't know how to live without them. So, what do you do then? Well, let's start with this. First thing you're going to do is a situation assessment. Your living situation, is it optimal? I mean, are you still living with the girl? Is she moving out? Because, that's preferable if she moved out. Because then, that's a lot less things you have to worry about. Now, me, the worst breakup of my life, and I'm not going to go too much into that, maybe later on down the road. But I was put in a position where even though I could afford to stay in my own place, it was best I didn't. Because I wound up spending the next 9 months just rabid whoring. And that was not good for my mental health. And eventually it came to the point where, this is, right when I was building up my first coaching business. But, there's some trauma there that I'm not going to go into. And it wound up leading to a point where I had to either A, go to therapy, or B, keep my place. And if I went to therapy, I would have to move back in with my parents. So I chose therapy. Now I'm going to talk about how I feel about therapists in another video. Do you require a lawyer? Do you have kids with a girl? Did she physically assault you? Did she lie and say you assaulted her? These are things that you need to question. And because I'm not giving legal advice, I am going to give you the advice and say that you should talk to your bros and ask them whether or not it's worth it. But if there are kids involved, I think you should. That's just my opinion. And, yeah. If she broke anything, do you actually want to press charges or do you want to fix it and just go off? Does she have your car? Because that was something that, a guy that I was coaching during COVID told me about. Dude's girlfriend stole his car. Woo! Yeah. That led to a whole thing. What assets do you have shared? Is she on the lease? So, here's a thing that I've been called toxic for. Exclusively by women. If she moves in, she's not on the lease. Why is that? Because if I want to kick her out because she decides that she wants to show her real colors and she ain't good, then I have the ability to do that. But she's not going to be on the lease. She's not going to be on the rent agreement. The best that's going to happen is that 30 days and she's gone. But my experience with that, usually they have a new place in 2 weeks. So I'm not even worried about that. How easy is it to cut contact? If you've got kids, you're going to have to talk to her. If she's part of your friend group, eventually you're going to have to talk to her, whether you want to or not. And then you're going to feel all the old feelings coming in, and it's going to be its whole thing. But oftentimes I also see this: if she goes, so do all the friends associated with her go. And it's especially bad if she decides that she wants to say that you beat her or something along those lines. If there are, oh, he was horrible to me, if there's those kind of things going on. So, really, if it's easy to cut contact with her, remove her as much as humanly possible. Because her being there in the equation is going to hurt. In some way, shape, or form. If you can 100% cut contact with her, do it. The only way I can think of where you can't is if you work with her or if you got kids with her. Critical. Do you have a support network, and how easy would it be to get there? Why is this critical? Because if you are isolated and you are not around some bros that are going to take care of you, you're going to wind up doing something stupid. It's not 100% sure that you're going to do something stupid, but I mean, it's enough of a problem that you need to worry about it. And of course, this leads to some other problems that I'm going to get into later on. Moving forward, hint, it's not pickup. It's not the pickup artist industry in any way, shape, or form. Yeah, pickup is... It's fun. I'm not even going to lie about that. But it also leads to some toxic habits, especially if it comes from a breakup. I mean, that's how I got into the industry. Like, I've got a copy of The Game on my bookshelf over here. The Mystery Method, which I've only gotten halfway through. I got Ross Jeffrey's book, which, I mean, even though I've left the community, like Ross Jeffrey's book, I want to read it just because I want to see how wild it is, because I've heard stories about it. It's literally next on my list of books to finish. Well, I haven't even started it, but you know where I'm getting at. But there's a number of reasons why you don't want to get into pickup, and I'll actually explain that here later on. But you notice, look at this picture. Look at this guy. Look at this AI art that I had. Was it ChatGPT or was it Grok? I don't remember. Look at this AI art. The guy's happy and he's in a crowd of people. He's moving forward. You should be too. That's what you should be focusing on. All right. Aww. All right. While you're working, there's a moment where you need to self-reflect. Oh my. You need to do a little bit of self-reflection as to whose fault is it. Did you become boring or did you become boring and lame? Or was she made for the streets? Like, I literally made a song about that that's in some of my YouTube videos. Were you both trash? Because a lot of the times, it's both of you. And you just weren't compatible with one another. Now, when it comes to the boring and lame, the first one, a lot of the times, especially when I was doing personal training, whenever these women would complain about their husbands, their boyfriends, it was, he's not the man that I loved. Because a lot of guys look at the woman as just the slot to fill, and as soon as they got them, they just like, they no longer try. You still got to do some things in order to keep her around. You got to keep her excited. You got to keep her happy. And there are multiple ways to do that, and plenty of them are cheap. I mean, like, when she's just walking by, I mean, pinch her butt a little bit and tell her she's beautiful. randomly just pull her into the closet and just start making out with her in front of the kids. Make the kids laugh and go, oh, God, you guys are gross. But they still love the idea of, your parents. Oh, yep, they love each other. That's a good example. And, of course, she's going to be a little bit embarrassed. But if she sees that you're still putting in effort to show that you care, that's going to do something. And if you're unpredictable about it, that's going to keep her around. But boring and lame? Yeah, if you become predictable, it's a big box of no. If you lose that drive, that was the thing that she fell in love with you in the first place, yeah, it's your fault. Okay, was she made for the streets? This is pretty self-explanatory. A lot of women, it doesn't matter what you do, how you make them feel, they're going to go on their emotions and they're going to go slide on whatever knob makes them feel something in the moment. A lot of women, not all of them. I'd say the mass majority of them are not like that. And so, fucking idiot. And so, once you figure out they're made for the streets, get rid of them. And of course, a lot of the times, they're going to come up with excuses as to whether or not, oh, this is your fault because of this. They'll start gaslighting you into making you think that everything's your fault. You need to have some level of discernment to figure out whether or not it's you. Or you both trash. Well, we've all heard of that relationship that is the embodiment of everything that you don't really want. Two toxic people together, squirting out about 10 or 12 little crotch goblins, and somehow they haven't killed each other. They're constantly arguing, they're constantly cheating on each other. They're broken up for like the 5th time because somebody just wanted an excuse to go sleep with someone else, and, well, it's not good. If you're part of that, you need to unfuck yourself. You need to really take... Well, what's the word I'm looking for here? You need to really take accountability for your actions, and you need to just, stop the toxicity. And a lot of the times, even though that chick was really fun, she ain't good for you. I learned this the hard way. Because I've had this. Because I've been this. And I still feel guilt over this. Because, long story short, I ruined a good relationship for a bad one. And that's the one that is traumatizing to me. And I'm not going to go into that in this video. This is about handling a breakup. Rings. Once she is gone, she is irrelevant. Now, of course, like we talked about before, there are some ways that you cannot cut contact. Like if you've got assets. Once the assets are divided, once all that is done, if you're paying alimony, if you're paying child support, the only time you talk to her is if there's something wrong with the billing or if there's something with the child. Other than that, she doesn't exist. She doesn't exist. She's out of sight. She's out of mind. Yeah, she may have done some things and you're going to be angry and spiteful and hateful, but it's better that you find a way to move past that, because at the end of the day, what good is being mad at your ex going to do for you? It's not going to be good for anything. It's not going to do anything good for you at all in any way, shape, or form. So, you're not just single, you're super single. So at this point, you should be thinking about how you should move forward. Just pretend she never existed, that sort of thing. And yeah, it's going to come back and you're going to be thinking about her every now and then. Or whether it be angry, I want to just, just do something horrible to this person. Or if it's going to be the case of, what the hell? Oh, I got more viewers. Or if it's going to be a case of, I'm sad, I should have been better for her. Doesn't matter, you've already fucked up by letting things continue the way they were, and now you're in this position. So it doesn't matter what happened prior, you need to move forward. How do you do that? Well, before we even talk about that, careful who you follow. Now, I used 3 different AI image generators: Midjourney, Grok, and ChatGPT. Grok had the best one, even though it was the lowest quality. What I asked for was a bunch of bald men, you notice how some of them aren't bald, wearing sunglasses, wearing leather jackets, following a crowd. And I think this picture actually exemplifies what I'm talking about here. You have some slight minor differences in the guys, but you see them all trying to be the same person, basically. What does this have to do with a breakup? Have any of you ever heard of red pill rage? Have you? You know what? Hold on. I need to look at my computer real quick. Oh, God, stink. Okay. Red pill rage is that moment in time where you're suddenly trying to understand how certain things are, and you look up certain terminologies, because whenever you talk about breakups, a lot of times you get led to red pill content. A good amount of red pill content isn't really red pill. It's really black pill that thinks it's red pill because it doesn't understand the difference between red and black. But that's a whole topic all on its own. However, when we're talking about red pill content, a lot of the times you're going to hear a bunch of terms, and this is why women are the way they are, and this leads to a period of time called red pill rage. Red pill rage is when you start becoming a misogynist. Because you're angry, because you find out that certain groups of individuals who own companies like Disney, you find out that the rom-coms were lies, Disney was a bunch of lies, you're not going to get the girl that way, women don't work that way, and now you are suddenly becoming a slight bit misogynistic. And me, even though I could get laid real easy, I had the moment where I was going through that. And yeah, that's what led me to go into therapy. Because I spent a good amount of time treating women like literal meat socks. But, oh God, that's some horrible wording. But the fact of the matter is, I got out of it because women, they're fucked up too. They have work that they need to do, but so do us men. And we can go on about that. There's a lot of layers to the whole conversation about that, and that's not what this video is about. This is about getting into how you process a breakup. So you need to be thinking about who it is that you're following. The guys who use the word hypergamy a lot, the guys that tell you that all women are horrible and you should just treat them like meat and lead them on by a leash. These are the guys you don't want to follow, because these guys will lead you astray. And then they'll probably try to do the whole coaching thing where it's like, okay, well, you want some fixin'-uppers? Here's what you do. You pay for my $35 million mastermind. You come out here. We'll teach you how to manipulate women. You can join our special private group that has a very incredibly insecure version of Discord. It's Discount Discord, where you got to do challenges so, you can gain little points with our little thingy. And we'll teach you how to be a man, because guess what? Your dad sucked. Now, my dad was a saint. The only problem my dad had was that he didn't explain things. And, part of my autism was that I needed explaining on why we do anything. And when you follow the wrong guy, they're going to send you astray, because a lot of the times they're not done dealing with whatever they're dealing with. I'm not going to name any of these guys because they all got better lawyers than me. And I've got child support. The work is on you. This is the hard one. This is the part where a lot of people tend to mess up because they don't do any self-work. They just sit there and they wallow in their self-hatred over this relationship that fell. Or they're going to wallow in the hatred of how they interacted with women and what happened to them. So, of course, we have the super cliche, develop into the best version of yourself. Now, here's the thing that I literally didn't think about till about 10 minutes before this presentation. Most people don't actually know what the best version of themselves is going to look like. What do you actually want out of life? What do you want to be? Most of the time, we're just going through the motions. A lot of the times, we forget what we actually are because we're too busy trying to make these women happy. Nah, I'm sorry, man. They don't like it whenever you pay all your attention to them. That's one of the reasons why they cheat. Because you've become boring and predictable, and now suddenly they think they can run you over, and now they just don't like you anymore. because they can't respect you. If you don't have any respect for yourself, how can you expect women to respect you? Think about that for a moment. So, you must work and do the things that are necessary to become something better within the world. We've all heard the stories about after a breakup, you see the woman just like, I left him because this, and this, and now he's out there thriving. Every one of those guys, they worked on themselves. But a good amount of the times, they wouldn't have worked on themselves if they hadn't had that breakup to wake them up. So, now that you're in a breakup, you should do that. Work on thriving. Work on being better. So how does one actually do that? And this is a thing that's going to change for everyone throughout the process that we're working here. Think about where you want to be in 10 years and reverse engineer a plan from how to get that. Okay, say in 10 years you want your business to be making this much amount of money. This is where your crayons are incredibly important. I have a whole bunch of these. Notebooks are always fun to have. So, think about where you want your business to be. Think about where you want yourself to be. Do you want the house? Do you want this car? Do you want to be making this much money in a year? Do you want to work for your own for the company and be like a general manager or something like that? Do you want to be like the CEO of a company that you work for, or do you want to own your own company? What do you want to do? You write that at the end of a piece of paper. Draw a line in the center, right where you're at now. There's going to be little points in time where you need to do something to get there, so you need to write down the goals in between there. So figure that out, and guess what? Even though you're working on that plan right now, there are bits and bobs that are going to change. So don't worry about following everything to a T. It's a process. You're going to figure it out as you go. Develop a mindset and routine that aids you in this journey. So, routine helps everyone. Wake up a certain amount of time, at a certain time every day, go to the gym, look at yourself in the mirror, do your affirmations. Now, as much as I like to shit on the self-help industry, affirmations are something I fully subscribe to. Why? Because it sets your mind in a certain mood. It makes you think about certain things. It makes you feel a certain way. Because your brain doesn't know you're full of shit. I love stealing that word from Dan Pena. But think about it like this. If you tell yourself you're the biggest, baddest motherfucker every day, eventually you're going to start believing it. So affirm what you're going to go through, what you're going to be, what you are, and that's going to make you happy. So that's the mindset portion. The routine? Gym. Everyone needs to freaking gym. You need to have a bedtime. Because if you fix your circadian rhythm, that's going to make your entire day just better. Circadian rhythm, that's when you go to sleep, when you wake up, blah, blah, blah. Kill that which does not serve you. If you're here, you are here because you probably either just had a breakup or you enjoy consuming self-help. A lot of people consume entirely way too much. What the hell? A lot of guys consume entirely way too much self-help books. Now me, I've been wanting to do coaching for a while. Like, originally I went to college to be a psychologist. I wanted my doctorates in that. So I've always wanted to help people. So I thought about life coaching prior to COVID, and I actually pulled the trigger during COVID. I like helping people. I like explaining things so that they understand how things are, and seeing the results of that. And now I'm back in coaching again. So that makes me happy. However, when I read self-help books, it's usually so I can criticize them. And that's what I'm going to be doing on the YouTube channel. I'm going to be looking through self-help books, and I'm going to be like, this is why this book is crap. But most people who enjoy self-help books, they have like 20, 30 different self-help books because they enjoy consuming the content. Because as you're reading them, you feel good. You watch the videos on how to feel good. You think about affirmations and manifesting, and you really don't get anywhere now, do you? And that's what happens to a lot of people. And it's mostly women. There's a reason why we call this chick crack. Yeah. It only goes downhill from there. But if it doesn't serve you, get rid of it. I mean, yeah, having one or two bad habits here and there, it's okay just so long as it doesn't become a problem. Example, me going out and hoeing, yeah, that became a problem, like mentally and physically, and monetarily. Okay. Me playing way too many online video games. I got rid of all my online video games. Literally, I only play 2 games online nowadays. 2. And I have time limits on them. Well, by time limits, I mean I do like 3 matches. But that's it. So if it doesn't help you, if it doesn't further you along into the thing, into where you want to go in life, just say fuck it, get rid of it. It's no longer going to help you. It's holding you back. This is also why I don't drink anymore. Well, unless there's something to celebrate. Or a friend to mourn. Oh, God, my friend's funeral is this Wednesday. Well, I still haven't decided what I want to do for his speech, but I know I'm going to be drunk when I'm up there. Because that's going to be a lot of people. So, process the pain. Do the self-work before you even consider dating ever again. So, remember how I brought up earlier, whose fault was it? It's always going to be hurtful whenever you're getting into a breakup. Why? Because it's a freaking breakup. It's a breakup. This person who was part of your life is no longer there. You have to reorient yourself in the world. So, how do people do that? Do you have hobbies? Do you have goals? Like we talked about earlier with goals. No monkey branching, can you stay single? Yeah, so the traumatic relationship that I had, you know what? I'm just going to say, the whole reason why it was traumatic in the first place was because she killed our kids. She got pregnant once, drank and smoked the baby to death, lied about it. I have no way to prove this, but that happened. I cried, and we continued. We wound up dating again. Like, we had like a 2-day breakup, and then she begged for me back, and the only reason why I did it was because I had no proof. I figured I should just give her the benefit of the doubt because she seemed really sad about it, and then she killed the next one, and like I said before, I have no proof on it, but I spent time processing the pain by going out and getting laid. I went full back in to the PUA community, and it became incredibly self-destructive. And it wasn't until I talked to a therapist, a good one, because I did a consultation with 2, and they were full poo-poo. And the third therapist, like literally part of the way he talked about processing things was, you need to put yourself around good people. He's like, yeah, I've heard that plenty of times. So I'm going to have you with a bunch of other traumatized guys, and we're going to play Halo. It sounds horrendous. It doesn't sound like it's going to work, but literally part of my therapy was to get on Halo with a bunch of strangers, play a couple matches, learn some teamwork, and get, some of that camaraderie. And then after a couple matches, we do a little meet and greet on Discord, and we'd talk about it. That'd be the group therapy session part. So, hobbies. Everyone's got something that they like to do. Everyone. You may not realize it's a hobby, but, I mean, it's something you like to do. If you don't have a hobby, get one. Video games. Right there. Donate a little bit of time to something that you feel like you can master and, make something good out of. If you like painting miniatures, like your little Warhammer 40k miniatures, I got a bunch of miniatures right here that need painting. Oh, God. Like, no, hold on. Battletech. Like, I've had these on my shelf for a while, but the whole reason why I never really did anything with them was because literally after buying all of those was because this was during COVID. The whole reason why I never got around to painting them was because I got really mad with the company Catalyst because they wanted to change lore in Battletech. They wanted to make a certain character trans, and to me that's just abhorrent. Like, I wouldn't have been anywhere near as pissed off if they added a new character who just so happened to be trans, but no. They just straight up wanted to change the lore and make this major figure in the lore trans, and that's just... No. Do you have goals? We already talked about goals. But you should type, like, while you're doing this, get another page out in your booklets, your crayons, your notebooks, whatever. Write down goals at the top, and if you have goals right now, write them down. Things that you want to do now that you're broken up. Whew. Take a moment for that. And before I continue, I'm going to go check and see if there's anything going on here. Me. I really need to pull up a thing that shows all the chats. My bro. Should I open up another pack of cigarettes? Probably not. You know what? Because I need to quit, I'm just going to rip a Zen. And hope I don't choke on it here in the middle of stream. I need a spittoon. Fuck. There. Spittoon. That shit works quick. Oh no. Oh no. So. Oh, who messaged me? I'm going to do this presentation twice back to back. Nah, not really. I'm not changing my setup to smoking in a chair. I work better when I stand. If I sit, I'll fall asleep. Literally, that's a problem with me. Alright. 3 viewers. Alright, let's get back to it. Alright. Hopefully you got your goals wrote down. Now, what you want to do is write a little thing on the side is like, how do you reverse engineer to get to those goals? Make sure that you have that wrote down. That way you can remember to do it. Oh no, I'm back down to 3 viewers. Do you have goals? No monkey branching. So yeah, I've talked about how hoeing was, after a breakup, is an incredibly bad, toxic thing. Especially if you wind up in another relationship afterwards. Now, we've heard people talk about it as like, oh, after my one relationship was so-so, I wound up in a relationship with this person and it was just great. Yeah, that's a rarity. Most of the time, it goes to poo-poo. It's poo-poo. You need to work on yourself before you jump into another relationship. Because if a relationship breaks, there's some problems there. Yeah. That's disgusting. I shouldn't have done that. There's problems there that need fixing. Maybe you let her run you over. Maybe you were a piece of shit and you didn't realize it. And so she left because she got tired of your ass. There's many layers here. Why did the relationship end? You can't monkey branch and expect your problems to go away. You need to figure that shit out. Otherwise, you're just going to repeat the same thing 99% of the time. Yes, there are exceptions to the rule. But how many of you are actually exceptional? Most of us aren't. All right, once again, process the pain. Are your finances in order? I am not legally allowed to give financial advice. So you should be looking for ways to fix your finances. How you do that? Well, there are many different guys on YouTube on how to do that. But like I said before, figure out, be very discerning as to who you follow. Because a lot of the YouTube financial bros, they'll screw you over. They'll try to get you to invest in some shitcoin. They'll try the same MLM multi-level marketing bullshit to try and get you into their little thing. And then you're just going to wind up screwed. So you have to really think about your finances and how that's going to go. Now, the rule I personally have, no dating unless I have over $1,000 in the bank. So that's one. No dating unless I've got a car. No dating unless all my bills are paid. I mean, because how many women actually respect their man if they're paying the bills? Yeah, there are going to be some that are like, oh, I'll help you this time. But overall, if she starts becoming your pay pig, she's going to start having resentment for you. So you should be able to take care of yourself. Fitness. How many of you can bench 225? Look at these titties. It's not goo. When you go to the gym, you will look better. You will feel better. Lose a little bit of weight. Make yourself look more Chad-like. Now, we can't change your height, but we can change your BMI. So, go to the gym, lift a little, make yourself sexy. You're going to have a lot more options that way. So when you do finally return to the world of men and women, you have more options to choose from. How does your wardrobe look? If you look like you don't respect yourself, you can kiss a lot of your dating. Your ability to date, just to absolute shit. If you don't look respectable, you're not going to get anywhere. I mean, this may be a graphic tee, but it looks good on me. It looks better on me than it does 90% of the population. Why? Because I have it fitted in a way that is nice. It's not too tight so I don't look like I'm showing off. Makes my tits look good. Really showcases the broadness of my shoulders. So even though I'm a whole 5'5", I look good at 5'5". Thank you. There was something I forgot to mention earlier in the video. Why? Because I didn't know where to actually put it in. If we go back to this slide, once she is gone, she is irrelevant. Think about that for a whole 5 minutes. Yeah, you spent a lot of time on a girl, but why are you sad? Oh, because you were attached. You loved her. You cared for her, and now she's gone. You're going to do the sad thing where you sit there, you try to process emotions, listen to sad songs, maybe possibly go to her house with a boombox trying to win her back, and then you're going to find out she's with that guy you didn't like. Yeah. So, the thing about that is that women are 50% of the population. They're 50% of the population. Why do you care that much now that she's willingly decided to leave? Or you left because she was insane? I mean, different layers here. Women are 50% of the population. Why should you care when Jody, the girl who was the cashier at Barnes & Noble, she likes that thing that you also like? That thing may be involving chains, whips, and, all that. You can go hit her up. Maria, the barista at Starbucks, She's the only one at Starbucks that doesn't have blue hair. She also has a nice smile. I'm curious, what else of her is nice? The fact of the matter is that women are abundant. So when you have this abundance mindset when it comes to women, suddenly this idea that the one girl who hurt you is she was supposed to be your everything, it kind of fades away a little bit. Yeah, it's nice to have a girlfriend, but you realize you don't really need them. You don't need that one because she's gone now. I mean, how many options do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 50% of the world's population. And of course, she could always say no, and you also got that. So now we're on the Q&A. I made this by hand in Krita. So, for my 3 guys enjoying my very first stream, do you have questions? And I also got a couple guys eyes on the Discord. Oh. Like, I want to shout out my friend, but it's completely unrelated to these things. But, like, the 3D printed gun community, it's showing me something awesome. My guy, what are you making? That is beautiful. Okay. Do you have questions? Because I've also got this going through Discord. Okay. Here for the grind. I really need to do something about this nasty setup of mine. Well, I did get some juicy drama on one of the Twitter groups. Let me see here. Your nipples are hard. I can see it. Motherfucker. No, it's not cold here, Stink. This is just what happens when you lift a lot. Your nipples become hard. Constantly. Like, I've literally ruined shirts with my tits. Like, I've got a white shirt like this, and they are forever, like, dented by my titties. I did have one thing on Reddit, because I asked a Q&A there. What the fuck? Gay dude with a question? So, on that, I did have one in terms of questions, and it was summed up as, what do you do when a girl... God. What do you do when a girl just up and leaves and treats you like you were nothing? Like all the time was gone, and she just disappears. That's basically what the question was. So, the guy who was in question here, what wound up happening was he was with a girl for a couple of years, and then she just breaks up and just disappears on him. And she's with another guy, and all that time that he was with her, was it nothing? Like, why was it that he felt this way? Why was it that she just up and left without saying anything? And he's questioning why anyone can do that. Whoever she left him for had something that she valued. Maybe the guy was spontaneous. Maybe the guy had good drugs. I don't know the entirety of this guy's situation, but she had something that he valued and that moved her heart to where she was just able to just up and leave. Who messaged me? And so, I got another one. And so he just doesn't understand why she can just up and just forget about him. I think there's a bit of evolution there. Like, you notice how women are able to just move on a lot faster than men? I believe it's an evolutionary thing because back in the day, guess who died first? Usually the women, whenever there was like a village raid, a lot of the times they got kept around. All the children got wiped out, unless they were girls, and the women were kept for breeding. So, I believe that's an evolutionary thing. And it's still something here, too. Of course, women are going to look in for what they consider to be their best interests. So, them moving on fast, that's literally just a woman thing. Especially if they leave. Now, if you leave them, there's a good possibility that they might come back and start, can you take me back? Or trying to keep you in their back pocket or something of that nature. And a lot of times you'll see women also keep you in their back pocket if they leave because they're not too sure about who they left you for. So you have that problem too. But if they're going to try and keep you in their back pocket, that's why we cut off contact. So that you don't wind up in this situation. Because if they did it once, they're going to do it again. Poopy women do that. Good women do not keep you in their back pocket. When a good woman leaves, she's freaking gone. She's not going to keep contact with you. Because if she has to leave, I'm sorry, you're no longer valid. You're no longer an option. But if they do what they think is upgrading, then yeah, you're screwed. You're no longer the object of their mind. You're not something that they can gush over. And why they decide to leave you for whoever, that's always the multi-layered thing that you're not going to understand. It's going to be different for everyone. Let's see. Is there another thing? Okay, nothing. All right. Question from the Discord group. If your ex offers the pussy and it's been a while since you had the pussy, what should you do? Okay, so there's this stuff called cocoa butter. And there's this stuff called internet porn. Normally, I'm not a fan of internet porn. I think people should withhold the use of pornography as much as humanly possible. However, if it's tempting, because we've all got that one ex where it's just like she's a crazy hot girlfriend who's just going to absolutely ruin your life, but I mean, just something about the way she just moves her fucking hips and rips up your back is just amazing. But you know you shouldn't, because you're going to suddenly start thinking about what could be. Even though you know she's not going to change. Just because she's offering pussy doesn't mean you should take it. Because that just leads to more problems. You're working on you. You should not be messing with this crazy. You shouldn't be. It should be out of sight, out of mind, unless you absolutely have to, like if you got a kid with her. Stay away from the crazy as much as possible. Any more questions? And for the guy who asked the question, yes. Don't talk to her unless it involves the child. And she's crazy. Any more questions? I'm out of energy drinks. Oh, okay, I don't understand this question. Another question. What do you do if you're weak and a weeb? What do you mean, what do you do? Like, if you're physically weak, go to the gym. If you're a weeb, just make sure you're not watching the kind of anime that just annoys her. Because, I mean, I like anime, and most of the women I've been with loved anime. And I'm not even just talking about women that I've dated. I'm talking about women that I've gone out and just, railed the fuck out of on Tinder. But then again, like, one of my favorite spots to go meet women was Barnes & Noble. And there's this gamer bar that was literally just up the street from the Barnes & Noble. Because, like, there's a certain spot that I like to go to and, just walk around. That'd be where I met a lot of women. That was my, what would I call it? It was my playground, so to speak, whenever I was out doing the whole PUA thing. How to get a girl. That's what you mean. Sir, the questions are about breakups. What do you do when it comes to breaking up? Not about how do you actually start dating. But in terms of self-work, you do a little bit more self-work, you're going to wind up having an easier time dating. Better question, what is the best way for an awkward guy to meet women? Okay. I'm answering like 4 questions from the same guy. Best way for the awkward guy to get women. Okay, so we've all had this certain phenomenon where... Just moving my mouse to make sure my computer doesn't shut up. We've all had this certain phenomenon where... maybe I should just move this over a little bit. I need to figure out how to operate the OBS a lot better. Is it working? Okay. Yeah. So, what is the best way for an awkward guy to meet women? So, whenever I was doing pickup, when I was instructing guys for a certain group, a group of guys who actually had no idea what the hell they were doing, mass majority of the guys that they got were awkward. We're talking guys who, they were in a relationship for forever and they don't know how to talk to women again. They were nerds that had never kissed a girl. We're talking about the guys that you would normally look at and say, that's an incel. These guys. The awkward types that they didn't think that they were going to ever either A, be with a woman ever again, or B, get a woman in the first place. So, putting stuff in trash. So, what would wind up happening is we'd start off by talking about self-game. Hyping them off. Hyping them up. Hyping them off just sounds so wrong. We'd hype them up to make them realize, okay, you're not maybe the piece of shit that you think you are. You're not. Because literally, I used to be the awkward guy who couldn't talk to women, who'd sit there and stutter with them. I mean, you've heard me stutter a few times in this presentation. And that's just a fact. But you're an awkward guy, you don't know how to talk to women. What do? So, I would tell them, guys, we're going to do an exercise tonight. If you do not say hello to a female and you talk to them and ask them certain questions, you're out of the class. No refunds. Straight up. I tell them there's no refunds. You're screwed. You spent all that money for nothing because you couldn't do one simple exercise. And I was an asshole about it. And I'm being an asshole about it right now. But that lit enough of a fire under all of their asses to just walk up and awkwardly be like, hey. And almost all of them annoyed that woman. Whoever it was. But now they realized they can actually say hello. And I tell them to do it again. And they keep doing it, and they notice that the awkwardness about it, it was lessening every single time. From the beginning of the night, it'd be like, hey. And then by the end of the night, it's like, hey. Now, notice how low energy that last one was. That was on purpose. Because they still don't know what the hell they're doing. I'm just telling them to go say hey to a woman and, start a conversation. I didn't tell them what kind of conversation. I just told them to talk about something. So they are now able to express themselves. And a lot of these guys, they'd noticed that they could actually talk a little bit more about certain things. Because we'd also talk about, okay, do you notice this thing about her? Or say something like that along those lines. Talk about it, make a comment on this thing. We'd also talk about that within the pre-game portion. And what this would lead to is a bit of redemption feeling. These guys would realize, maybe I can talk to women. Because I'd be writing down in my little notebook, because there's a reason why I have a whole bunch of these. It's because I'd sit there and I'd take notes on individuals on how the girls were responding to them and how much and what they did to get there. I was writing their infields as an instructor, watching what they did. And the way that the awkward guys can stop being awkward is to stop being awkward through exposure. It's not that you're becoming numb to the bad looks or whatever. It's because you're becoming braver and being able to handle it better. So you're literally getting tossed into the deep end and learning how to talk to women. You're learning. That's what's happening. You are learning. You are literally learning how to talk to the girls. I wonder what this is going to look like whenever I look at the recorded version. So as these guys learned that they could actually talk to girls, the second time we'd go out, they were a hell of a lot more, what's the word I'm looking for here? Enthusiastic. So the second time that they go out, instead of it just being, hey, it'd be, oh, hey, what's up? And yeah, they'd still make a fool of themselves. But they would notice the growth. They would notice the growth, and then they would go out and apply it the next time, along with the other lessons that we taught. And a lot of the times, before these guys even finished the course that we were actually going through and doing, for what was basically like a diet, sort of boot camp, it was basically set up like a club. It's a whole thing that I'll talk about later. A lot of the times they wound up getting numbers and stuff before they even got to that part of the course. They'd sit there, they'd talk to a girl, make them laugh a little bit, and they get the Snapchat, they get the Facebook. One guy got a Twitter. And this eventually got to the point where, at the end of the night, everyone had a girl on their shoulder. Except for me, because I was dealing with a end of a relationship. Because when I was teaching, it was from October, at the end of one of my relationships, because I'm doing literally whatever I talked about here, all the way up to January, where I wrecked my Jeep. I decided I was going to do some self-work, and even though I was out there teaching guys how to get laid, I was not seeking vagina myself. Oh god, that's such a raunchy way to put it. 4 viewers! Yay! And so, that's how you move past that. First by exposure and learning how to do it. You take supplemental things that help you with the exposure, and you stop being awkward. Now, of course, there's going to be moments where you wind up doing something incredibly stupid and you wind up looking like a fool and you're going to feel down. So self-game is all about taking that moment and you'll bring yourself back to that. This is part of why I say affirmations are great. You affirm that you're awesome. You affirm that you're going to be able to get someplace with somebody. And So it just basically formulates itself into reality. You bring that into reality because you are believing in it. It's literally one of those few things that you can do. Another good question from a buddy. So one of my guys is watching, and I think he's streaming it for somebody else. I don't know exactly. What are good openers to talk to women? We're talking about breakups here. This is about processing breakups. Hold on, let me see if there's any other questions real quick before I answer that one. Nope. But hey, I got another viewer. I just really hope the recording process didn't fuck up. Good opener. Let me see here. Usually openers, it depends on what's going on here. Like, what is the setting? What is going on? That sort of thing. So whenever you're opening, it's always going to be a little bit different for every single time. Normally, one of my favorite things to do, like if I see a chick and she looks a little mad because of something that her friends are doing, and this is something that I do whenever I'm at Barnes & Noble, because you'd see a group of girls and then you have one that's being strung, that's just basically being rug along, and I'd be like, wow, you look like you're having fun. And they're almost always going to be, oh yeah, totally. She's not having a good time. And at this point, you have the ability to make her have a great time. So what do? Well, you string from that conversation. What am I luggage? You string from there, and you start making her have a fun time. You don't introduce yourself immediately. You throw in a couple jokes based on some things, elements that you were seeing here. Maybe throw in a little bit of light teasing. Hope you don't go too far. Make her giggle a little bit. And then you introduce yourself and say, hey, I need to get going. Because, yeah, you do. Hand her your Snapchat or whatever. And then you go. You go do something else for a little bit. And with any luck, she's going to message you. Or you're going to message her. It really depends on how you bring that out. But really, when it comes to opening, you can open anywhere. You don't need to be at a club to open. You don't need to be at a club to open. But one of the things that I've seen at clubs, other guys doing this, because, like, I'm going to be honest, my luck at clubs wasn't that great. Like, I could go out and do day game and get numbers and Snapchats real easy, but me at a club, that was not my playground. Me at a club or at a bar, it's 50-50 for me whether or not I'm going to be successful because, me and alcohol do not get along. But if I'm out anywhere else in the world, make a couple comments, make them laugh, without the aid of alcohol, it just feels more honest to me. There's also that. Make a couple comments. You can literally just walk up to a girl at a grocery store and be like, oh, getting your ice cream. That works to start a conversation. An opener is just anything that you can use to start a conversation. So if you just look at them, talk to them about whatever is going on at the moment, you see exactly how they respond. Usually if they respond with a little bit of anger and annoyance, you got one comment afterwards, and that's going to determine whether or not you can get a hit with them. When I say get with them, I mean like process into whether or not you're going to be able to get their number or whatever. So if you walk up to a girl and she's visibly annoyed, and you can't make her laugh, you're fucked. It's not going to work. But she's going to remember you. So maybe next time something good will happen. All right. Okay, any more? What do you think is the best way to handle a buddy who won't get over a breakup? Okay, so you know that whole meme where if your friend just got broken up with, the relationship's over, he's feeling like a sad cunt, and the first response is to take him to the strip club. Now, that is unhealthy. That is incredibly unhealthy, but there's a reason why that exists. When I was talking earlier about how women are literally 50% of the population, if you can get him to realize that there are more options out there, that this one girl was not that fucking special, I mean, he's going to get over that relationship real quick. But there's a lot of problems that he needs to process himself before he gets there. So, I mean, it's a sort of balance thing. Understand that women are 50% of the population. She isn't going to be anywhere near as special as you think she is. Yeah, she's awesome, but she's not that special. Figure out what the problems are that you had, your part in the relationship ending, and then work on it from there. But women are 50% of the population. Oh, but she was my special girl. She was like, and I'm not good with women. What am I going to do there? Literally, one of the things in the game and in the mystery method, you think she's special, you have one-itis. What do you do about that? You go sleep with 10 different women. See if she's special then. And I've had moments where I slept with 10 different women and I was still thinking about her. So, I think the knowledge that you can talk to women and that you can replace her, because yeah, guess what? Just as men are super replaceable, so are the women. If you know that you can replace her, that takes you a lot farther than if you're just, how do I say? If you know that you can replace her, it takes you a lot farther than if you didn't know. But at the same time, he's got to do his own work. Now, when I mentioned that I was still thinking about the girl after I slept with 10 different women, the reason why I was still thinking about her was because there was a trauma attached to her. Like, I couldn't understand exactly how someone can do that, and I knew that she was never going to be honest with me about whether or not she intentionally ended our children's lives when they were still in utero. I mean, there's a whole thing there. But most of the time, just knowing that you can go replace her easily, that helps. You're going to think about the time that you spent with this person, and that's going to hurt. But you need to sit down and process everything. And sometimes it's just like a snap. I can't do that. And that makes me sad. You're going to realize precisely why this person wasn't shit in the first place. Like, one of the things that made me realize that one of my recent breakups, because I got hoorah'd, because this girl was incredibly convincing, why this was not going to work was because I didn't realize that I was being meant to be replaced in the first place. She was going to replace me at a certain time whenever she could go over to California. The moment I realized that I was there just as the temporary guy, I was like, oh, wow, I wasted a fuck ton of my time. But you know what? She tried to keep me in her back pocket, which is something she wouldn't have done for any of the other guys around here. Next question. Do you think it's a good idea to let them bitch about it for a week, or get some real or so, then get real and tell your friend to shut the fuck up about her and get over it? Well, along with that, telling them to get the fuck over it isn't going to help because they haven't processed it. They're just going to internalize that, and they're probably going to go into red pill rage and start becoming a little bit of a misogynist. So, you let them bitch about it, but you also poke at them a little bit. You poke at them and ask them why you think this was. Why do you think it went this way? Why do you think it went this way? What do you think happened here? Do you really think this bitch was good for you? Do you? Do you really think this was a good idea to focus on this person? And of course, you also bring up, hey, if this was your friend, what would you be saying? What would you be saying to your friend if they were saying the same thing to you? You got to put things into perspective. Sometimes you need to put them on the outside perspective. If I was bitching about my woman, what would you think? Or if I will or remember whenever I dated this person and I was sad about her. What do you think? So you gotta find a way to put them into reality and understand that this is over and help them move forward. And there's many different ways to do that. But the best way is to convince them to focus on themselves. And yeah, she's going to pop into your head every now and then. And you're going to be angry or sad or whatever, what have you. But that's why at the same time, you work on them with other things. Things that are non-female related. Eventually, as you start to work on yourself, you're going to start realizing what options you got. And you're going to start feeling better about yourself. This is also one of the reasons why you go to the gym. Because guess what? Efficacious gains... Gains make the sad voices go away. It helps you not think about her because you can't think about her when you got 225 over your chest and you don't have a spotter. Wow, my wrists look good. All right. Any more questions? Let me go check the thingy real quick. I have no idea who Raptor Jesus is, but thank you, sir. Stink can. I would destroy you in Dark Souls 3 PvP. Yeah. Yeah, you would. Because I have no idea how to be good at Souls-like PvP. I have no idea. Like, I am dreadful at PvP in a Souls-like game. Just absolute dog shit. It's like on the topic of Dark Souls and like the Souls-like games I used to play a lot of, because we really haven't had one show up in a while. I mean, there's a new one called Duskbloods that's coming out on the Switch too, but I mean, I'm not gonna buy a Switch. Fuck that system. I have been absolute dog shit at PvP at every single Souls-like game I'd ever played. Like, I'm dog shit at a lot of games. I'm just gonna put that out there, even though I've been playing video games since I was, like, barely out of diapers. Like, the very first video game I ever played was Wolf 3D. I still remember the only cheat code for it, LIM. Gave you all ammo, all the guns, and all the key cards. And guess what? If there was PvP for it, I don't know if there was. I don't think there was PvP for it. Even though I've been playing video games since then, I've been dog shit at multiplayer the entirety of my existence. Like, the only game that I've ever played good at in multiplayer was MechWarrior Online. One more question. One more question. Gonna check the chat log for all three of you. Okay. Let me see. I'm gonna wait on this. And since I'm out of drinks, yeah, I'm gonna shut down the stream as soon as I get this answer this one more question, and then I'm gonna go get me something to eat. Someone's writing. Someone's writing. If a female starts to lose interest in you, do you think it's better to cut her out first? Really, it depends. Like, is there a particular reason? Wait, hold on. Let me ask you a question. Are you referring to, like, if she's losing interest and you're already in a relationship? Or is she's losing interest as in, like, you're talking to her, you're trying to get into a relationship, and then... Okay, the first one? Okay, if you're already in a relationship with her and you start to notice that she's losing interest, I mean, she could just be depressed. You got to figure out if that's what's going on. If she talks about, if she talks about, oh, my new work husband, or she starts talking about hanging out with some dude, or sometimes even some chick, because I mean, a lot of lesbians that I've met are incredibly persuasive. Yeah, like a lot of lesbians are better than 90% of the pickup artist community. And there's a reason for that, and to make that as short as possible in explanation, um, it's that there's something new, different, and it's fun and exciting, and it just it tugs at the feel. So yeah, they're gonna want to try a new experience with some chick if she's persuasive enough. Because a lot of lesbians, they know how to play on the sense of imagination incredibly well. And how are they so good at that? They have the same part set. Okay. I strayed a little bit far from there. If she starts to lose interest in you while you're in the relationship, I mean, you need to take into account exactly what's going on as to why she's losing interest in you in the first place. Oftentimes, it's just depression, or if it's the monthly thing. I mean, this is why a lot of guys actually keep, like, nowadays, which is, it sounds fucking weird, but I mean, a lot of guys will actually keep track of their girl's ovulation, because if she's about to have her monthly, she's going to act like she's losing a lot of interest in you a lot of the times, because her chemicals are all fucked up, and she's going to be thinking things and be in her head and having a lot of ice cream, that sort of thing. So you need to figure out why she's losing interest in you, because a good amount of the time it could just be she's about to have her monthly, or whenever I talked about self-work earlier and like figuring out whose fault it is, it could be because you're no longer the person she fell in love with. So you need to take in account these things. So if you're no longer the person that she fell in love with, you need to figure out exactly what it is that you're doing wrong, and you need to figure that out, and you need to have a conversation with her about it. Because oftentimes, if they're building resentment for you and they're losing interest and they're thinking about leaving, they're going to tell you exactly why. They're going to tell you exactly why, unless they think you're a little bitch and they don't want to hurt you. If they think you're a little bitch and they don't want to hurt you, like this typically happens because they got a new guy that has shown his face for whatever fucking reason, the work husband, whatever. If that happens, then yeah, you should just dip. It's like, I'm sorry, we're done. If you're not going to tell me what's going on, I'm sorry, we're done. Now, if it's not a relationship and you're just talking with somebody and you're seeing where that goes. Oh god, my hair looks like crap. And you're just wanting to see where that goes. Like, now I'm becoming self-conscious about how I look. I'm going to absolutely wreck it in the gym tomorrow because of this. If you're just talking to someone and you want to see where it goes, don't worry about it. Because guess what? Like I said before, when our 50% of the population, you have options. You don't need to worry. If she wants to come back around, she'll come back around. If she doesn't, oh well, fuck it. Why put your time and energy into someone who doesn't want your time and energy? Now, of course, at times, you could realize that you're doing something wrong. You already know that she's just going to drift away eventually. So you could ask her exactly what's going on. And 90% of the time, she will tell you. She will tell you exactly what's going on. You know what? I'm going to do one more question. I need to get the 50 subs on YouTube so I can start live streaming. I also need to figure out how to do like the little countdown thing and play like a song. Like I feel like something to the tune of Africa by Toto would be like just awesome to have like right before the stream. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, one more. I just think that'd be awesome. 4 viewers. Okay. What do you think a guy should do if his girl gets too drunk and starts hitting him? I read that wrong. I read that as hitting on him. Speaking from Damn. Speaking from experience. If she's drunk and hitting you, the first thing you need to do is you need to break contact immediately. And when I say break contact, I mean get the fuck out of there. If you got a kid, she's probably not going to kill your kid. Your dog? Do you think she has the capacity to kill your dog? Okay. If you can get the kid and the dogs out, you take them with you. Usually all you're going to have to do is you're going to have to just, go, get in the car and drive off. If you see that she's about to do this, 99% of security is just prevention. If you think she's about to get in one of those moods where she starts hitting you, pull out your phone, start recording. Try to calm her down in the video. Don't yell at her. Don't be stern. If you can, put it down to your side so she doesn't see that you're recording. This is not legal advice. This is just what I would do. Try to calm her down. And if she starts hitting you, you've got evidence. You've got evidence that she was hitting you. And then you can take that to the police and have her arrested. That's what I would do. Now, I had a different problem that was quite similar. So the ex that I mentioned that deleted our children, literally 2 weeks before me and her split up for good, she would get mad at me because I told her I didn't want her going out drinking because that's all she did. And these arguments would escalate, and then she would start hitting on herself. And so that she was going to claim I did it. That's why I would have the phone right here. This phone, actually. Yes, this phone, actually. I'd have it right here and be like, baby, could you stop? Could you stop? Could you stop? And then I posted her doing that after she made a giant thing saying that, oh, he hit me, he beat me. Baby, can you stop hitting yourself? Posted it as a response on Facebook to where her entire family could see. But if she's going to start hitting you, I would give her an ultimatum. This is one of those rare occasions where it's an ultimatum situation, and it'd be like, okay, if we're going to continue dating, you're going to go to AA because you're not allowed to drink anymore. Because if you're going to disrespect me like that and hit me, this ain't going to work out. So you either go to AA, you deal with your alcoholism, or we're done. If she thinks she can hit you, in the first place, it's a respect issue. She doesn't respect you. Now, we can talk about why she doesn't respect you, but ultimately that doesn't matter because she's hitting you. So, at that point, you need to do something about that. If she is hitting you, you need to break contact. If you can, save the kids and the dogs. Cats will be fine. They're sneaky little bastards. They'll get away. Gingers. That was the comment from the guy. And like I said before, record it. Make sure that you can prove that she hit herself, that she was the one that was assaulting you. Because, if this goes to the police 9 out of 10 times, it's never the guy who comes out well. That's why I pulled out my phone and started recording whenever my ex was hitting herself. BPD, man. Guys, stop dating BPD girls. They need to be culled from the gene pool. Do not breed with them. I don't, man. No, man. She hit me, but knew it didn't hurt. It doesn't matter. It's still a respect thing. You don't hit your woman, they don't hit you. That's a line you don't cross. The moment anyone starts laying their hands on somebody, it's your relationship's fucked at that point. If I could just be completely honest, the moment someone lays hands, it's fucked. His response: she has BPD. We need to stop fucking BPD girls. No, we need to let them be culled from the gene pool. They at least need to be fixed before we do anything with them. You know what? I think I got one more in me. Okay. One more. For the one chat. Let me see if there's anything here on the other chat. Okay. Like, my throat is dry, but I feel like I can, like, talk about one more particular moment here. It's like, one of these guys is, like, streaming this to, like, 5 other people or something of that nature. I'm curious exactly how he's doing this. And that's where most of these questions actually came. But, oh no, my view count is so low. I'm not... Okay, so, one more question. While I light me up a cancer. I really hope this isn't part of Kick's terms and services. Do you think women in general need to be better? Bro's still typing. Oh, this is going to be an expansive one. Because I think women right now are not worth the effort. Oh, a lot of people feel that. And now I'm completely out of juice. So, the situation with men and women, the best I'm going to describe it is it's almost exactly the same as the situation with Palestine and Israel. Minus the ethnic cleansing part. If we took out the religion and the ethnic cleansing and just, looked at them as just 2 different tribes, the way I would describe it is you have one group of individuals who'll be an asshole. It doesn't matter who started it. And in response, the other group of individuals will be an asshole. And in response, the other group will be an asshole. And so you get the circle jerk of fuckery. You get a circle jerk of absolute destruction of people just, constantly being assholes to one another. Though I'm not going to elaborate any more on the Israel situation, I am going to elaborate on how this reflects on men and women. In regards to men and women, you'll have a good guy who gets burned by a woman. And so a nice guy. Like an actually nice guy. Not like what nice guys are in all actuality. The guys who you typically say that they're actually nice. It's like, if you're nice to a woman to get laid, you're not actually nice. And so what you wind up with is a guy who's nice to women. He's kind. He's caring. He's loving. And then he gets burned. And then he decides, I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm not going to get burned anymore. And so, he kind of becomes an asshole. He becomes a pickup artist. "14 years in the community, and I have nothing to show for it other than I know women." And so what winds up happening is, it doesn't matter if he's completely honest and he's like, look, baby, I just want to fuck the shit out of you. And we're going to have a fun time. And you're going to love it. It doesn't matter if he does that or if he lies. Guess which one of these were me? You know, I'm just going to tell you. I never lied to a woman about what my intentions were. I just lied about my name. There's over 100 women that know me as Javier Escuela. It doesn't matter. She's going to realize she's getting used as meat, and then she's going to treat herself like meat, and she's going to hate men because of that interaction. So I'm not going to lie, part of me in this whole thing that I'm doing of men trying to understand women, women trying to understand men, and, you know, working on this issue that they have, it's inspired by the damage I helped cause. Women need to be better, yes. But so do men. So what you have here is a bunch of guys who don't understand women and a bunch of women who don't understand men. And you see there's a lot of incredibly, how do I put it? How would I put this? Men who don't understand women because either they had weak fathers, you know, the guys who are like, oh, she's the boss. Happy wife, happy life. Guys who don't understand how to put their foot down when she's misbehaving, and women who suddenly think that they're the princess and they need to get that princess treatment. I mean, the knight and princess allegory is nice and all, though I kind of wish that there was a different way to put it. Women want to be seen, and oftentimes they believe, because of how society has gone throughout the years, that they deserve a hell of a lot more than they actually do. That's why you have a lot of women who, even though they weigh 400 pounds and have 3 different baby daddies, yeah, they will bang Chad and Tyrone every once in a while when Chad and Tyrone doesn't have his regular girls on the roster available. But at the same time, she thinks she deserves to marry Chad or Tyrone. She wants the guy with 6 figures and a 6-pack, and it's completely unreasonable. Men and women are both going to have certain standards that they uphold. And what I've noticed with a lot of the dating market right now is that women have unrealistic standards because how society has shifted in the last few decades. And men, because they just want to, you know, feel like they're loved, they want to know that they're worthy of love, they're willing to put up with a lot of bullshit instead of putting their foot down and saying, no, I'm not going to deal with this. And that's a problem. Now, here's the thing that I believe that's going to get me called the M word, you know, misogynist. I believe that women follow men's standards. I believe women follow the culture that men set. So if men stop tolerating horrible behaviors from women, even though they can get another guy to, you know, just sit there and simp over them, they're still going to want the other guys. You need Chads and Tyrones that are not going to tolerate this. Tell them exactly why they're not going to tolerate this. And then the women, they're going to start upping their standards for how they hold themselves. That's what I believe needs to happen. You need guys to put women in their place, and you need women who can also put men in their place where it is necessary. So women need to have more realistic standards for what they bring to the table. Men need to up their standards for what they bring to the table. And at the same time, men should not deal with bullshit. But you also have a lot of things that the feminists are actually right upon. Because, like, you wouldn't actually have feminism if they weren't right about a few things. But you see a lot of women who will sit there and tolerate getting beaten by their husbands. And that's a no bueno situation. Okay, I probably just lost a few viewers right there. But yeah, I think that's it for today's stream. Every once in a while, you'll have the feminists be right. Every once in a while, you'll have the Manispherians be right. These groups would not have any sort of basis for followers if it wasn't for the fact that they were right in certain ways. That's how this goes. You cannot build a basis of followers unless you're right in a few ways. That's just how everything is. Anyways, if you're watching on the YouTube, like, share, and subscribe. Comment down below. While we're at it, give me a follow on Kick and Twitter. Like, I don't know exactly where the socials are because I actually, like, don't know how to operate Kick at this point in time. Oh, no. Yeah, a few people will only understand that. So I actually don't understand exactly how to operate Kick. I'm also going to be streaming to Twitter at some point when I decide I want to get blue. Right now, it's just not worth it for me. But here we go. Take care, everyone. Huh? My buddy just screenshotted. If you don't understand it... I could totally see that being used years down the road of people calling me a Nazi.
She's got a smile that lights the room, a love that's blooming, or so they assume.
Oh, God. Anyways, you guys have a good one.
Shadow, she's got a plan, a secret kept from her leading man. He's waiting quiet, he don't make a sound. She keeps him close when no one's around. Back pocket man, just a spare in her hand, a safety net for a heart that might land. She's playing her game, keeping love on a string. He's her maybe, her might have been king. Oh, back pocket man, waiting out of sight, hoping one day she'll see the light. Her boyfriend's golden, or so it seems, but she's still dreaming in backup scenes. A whispered call when the night gets cold, a little comfort from a story untold. He knows his place, he's biding time, a hidden hope in a fragile line. Back pocket man, just a spare in her hand, a safety net for a heart that might land. She's playing her game, keeping love on a string. He's her maybe, her might have been king. Oh, back pocket man, waiting out of sight, hoping one day she'll see the light. She says, it's nothing, just a friend I know, but he's the one she runs to when the cracks start to show. He's patient, steady, like a shadow that stays, living for the chance she'll turn his way. But she's holding tight to the life she's got, while he's the afterthought she ain't forgot. Back pocket man, just a spare in her hand, a safety net for a heart that might land. She's playing her game, keeping love on a string. He's her maybe, her might have been king. Oh, back pocket man, waiting out of sight, hoping one day she'll see the light. One day she'll choose, or maybe she won't, keep him forever, or tell him don't. Till then he's there, in the dark, in the fold, a back pocket man with a heart of gold.